I'm Cathy Brooks. Since I'm the only one introducing myself, I'm I guess you can say, lifetime motorcyclist since I was maybe 2 or so when I first sat on one. So obviously my family is a family of motorcyclists, and I have since gotten my license on the road, Motorcycle Safety Foundation rider coach, Harley Davidson Riding Academy for many years, doing quality assurance and training of other instructors for them or coaches for them. And now I'm with Texas A&M Transportation Institute and have the fun job of working with the Department of Transportation on our statewide motorist awareness and motorcycle safety education outreach support, and with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations to increase both instructors and riders into rider training. And we can thank Dr. Manser for that. He got us those great things, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. So my husband was invisible to a 3/4 ton, 1 ton Dodge pickup truck just over 10 years ago. Being married to an instructor who did advanced training courses and stuff, advanced training is very difficult to get done in the state of Texas. We can't get people into the classes. If any of your instructors out there, you felt that pain. So a lot of times when we had a class scheduled, we didn't have enough people to have a really good group interaction. So my husband was our fill-in. He had gone through multiple advanced training courses. And as Hong said in her keynote, is even the best helmet doesn't always do enough. So, so that's, as I'm getting in and talking to people around the state for this project, I'm thinking, what are some of the things? So I've started diving into them. So let's start by looking at what's going on in Texas for crashes. And guess what, guys? You don't get to stay quiet. So you tell me. Everybody's agreeing with increase? Yep. Luckily, the increase was less, 23 to 24, but we are still increasing. Most frequent type. I'm hearing from this side of the room. What's this side of the room say? Yep. The others, there's a mixture, but multi-vehicles are in there. The fun thing about this, see that same direction, 20%? A lot of those same direction is the motorcyclist running into the back end of another vehicle due to speed. And possibly size arrival effect that we'll talk about. So even though that one vehicle where it's the motorcyclist, which means the motorcyclist made an error. There's also ones that are multi-vehicle where the motorcyclist may have made an error. All right. No motorcycle license.
43.
Okay. Is the motorcycle license required in the state of Texas? Yes. Believe it or not, I spoke to someone a couple weeks ago at an event that said, I've been riding, I don't need a license. I'm like, here, take a class. So, 57. Nina gets the award on that one.
Just looked him up, sorry.
So that's huge, and it has been growing over the last several years. So not sure exactly all the factors that played into that. Some of it may have been during the COVID era, some of it may have been in the switch from Department of Public Safety to the Department of Licensing and Regulation, but there's been a change, and it's increasing. Helmet use.
47.
I heard 47. Anybody over here? 39. Yeah, urban has more simply because
More cars, more vehicles in general.
how many of you had fun driving in Austin? How many of you drive in Houston?
I won't even drive like a mom in Austin.
Dallas, Fort Worth, either one. I go around Waco these days. So I haven't been to El Paso in way too many years to determine. So yeah, even though the number of crashes is higher, the number of, let's put this another way, it's not the number, it's the percentage, the ratios of the crashes in the rules are a little overrepresented. There's less traffic, fewer crashes, but the severity of them is higher in the rural areas.
You think it's mostly speed related?
In the rural areas? If I had to guess, which is what I would be doing right now because I don't have the data in front of me, yes. Because a lot of them are the run off the road, which means you are either, it may not be above the speed of the posted road, but it may be above the speed of the motorcyclist's skill level. So, yes. All right. Kind of the heat map. So it is hotter in those higher population areas and the roadways that connect them, even down in the valley. It was interesting, I was down in the valley a few weeks ago, it's been over a month now, in the two major counties down there around McAllen and Harlingen, and their fatalities are actually going down this year so far, so we're knocking on wood and crossing our fingers we can keep that trend going down there. So, who's in the room? If you are a current motorcyclist, raise your hand. Current motorcyclist? Okay. How about a motorcycle instructor or school owner? Safety instructor? Got a few over here, okay.
They don't want to admit it.
I'm trying to wake them up. How about passion?
How about what?
Passion.
Passenger? Motorcycle passengers? Yeah, we got quite a few of them. You've gone from a passenger to a rider, young lady. So how many do not do motorcycles? You're a cager. You're only in the car. A couple. So not everybody raised their hand. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm going to speak up a little bit then. If you only drive a car, let's move to this side of the room. If you are a rider, move to this side of the room. What do you do most often?
Are we staying over there?
Yeah, you're staying. If you primarily, or if you're a motorcycle safety instructor, you get to go on this side of the motorcycle safety training instructor.
When you've been riding for 60-plus years, your hearing goes, this can't be.
So that's what earplugs are for. It's part of that protective equipment that we were talking about. a little uneven, but we're
This is the drive more often, this is the ride more often.
driving more often, riding more often, or instructors. Cool. So Miss Nancy, in our opening session from TxDOT, showed you some information as part of their campaigns. And one of the things that they're trying to illustrate in those campaigns are the look but failed to see crashes.
Motorcycles are not invisible, but they can seem that way to drivers who aren't paying close attention. Look twice for motorcycles. There's a life riding on it.
So look but fail to see. I was preparing a presentation for, I believe it was the Houston district, TxDOT district, and before I went out there, there had been a motorcycle crash within the week where the report was the woman looked, saw the motorcycle, thought she had time. Did she have time? The young woman on the motorcycle did not survive. So, the big question here is, why are motorcycles invisible? Just kind of hide in and out of things, don't we? So some of the reasons for this are saccades. Has anybody heard of saccades or saccadic masking? Laura has, because she's seen all my presentations. So a little bit, maybe, okay. Motion camouflage or motion-induced blindness. Over here, a little bit. Blind spots? Everybody had better have heard of blind spots. Inattentional blindness. Okay. How about size arrival effect? Cool. All right. So let's look at some of these. I'm going to start with saccades and hope this plays.
Sorry, mate, I didn't see you. Those words are often heard after a driver has pulled out in front of another road user. In most cases, the driver will have looked, but was fooled into thinking the road was clear because of the way our eyes and brains see things when we turn our heads. As we move our heads from side to side, our eyes send snapshots to our brain at intervals, in much the same way as a video camera records frames. Our brain then merges the snapshots, called fixations, into what we think is a continuous sweep. But that is an illusion. Between the fixations, there are blind spots, called saccades. If another road user happens to fall within one of these blind spots, they will not be seen. This is known as saccadic masking. The faster we move our heads, the shorter the fixations and the longer the saccades will be. So the risk of not seeing another road user increases, especially if they're a cyclist, motorcyclist, or pedestrian. To overcome this, drivers need to adopt a different approach when checking if the road is clear. Instead of continuous head movement, a driver should pause for a fraction of a second to focus on at least 3 points when looking to the left and right to check close, middle, and long distance. With practice, this can be achieved quickly and will overcome the normal limitations of the eyes and brain. It's also advisable to look to the left and right at least twice. If everyone put this simple advice into practice, up to a quarter of all road accidents could be avoided. This would be a major boost for road safety.
So the first comment that I saw when I looked up this and found this video, which obviously is not from the United States, was, we need something like that in the United States. I have not been able to find it, but I have found a couple from overseas. So, saccades, have you ever noticed that? Have you ever, when you stop at an intersection, how quickly do you scan the intersection? Okay? So if everybody's looking forward, right, I want you to start on one side of the room and go scan quickly to the other side of the room. Did you see what the screen change? Sorry, mate, didn't see it. So if we slow it down, we'll do it better. And this is just as much for the motorcyclists as it is for the car driver. But the car driver, you guys got a bigger weight and more protection than we do. Any questions on the saccades or saccadic masking? Cool. Motion-induced blindness. What can you tell me about motion-induced blindness?
Our brain doesn't register things that are actually
You know what?
moving.
I'm going to pass this around.
I know, I was like, I'm pretty loud.
Or Clyde back there is going to get mad at us because we won't get your audio.
Okay, so motion-induced blindness is our brain doesn't register things that are in motion specifically coming at us.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. We're going to do a test or illustration, if you will, of motion-induced blindness. So we'll be on each screen. There will be a pattern that's moving, dots on the outside. Identify all the 3 dots, and then concentrate on the green dot. Now staring at the green dot, I'll watch the yellow, so I'll test y'all. Have any of the yellow dots disappeared yet? They're still out there. I've been watching them. They didn't go anywhere. So that's the same thing with motorcycles that are in motion, or cars that are in motion, moving quickly, is that a motorcycle can get lost. Okay? This is the only one that had a dark black background, so we can put the lights back on here. So when we're doing that, being aware, but motorcyclists, what do you do to be more visible to drivers when you're just going down that busy road?
I'm just mentioning the flashing light above our head. Headlight flashing.
Modulating headlights, like the light above our head. Anybody else?
I weave. When I'm approaching a person that's waiting to make a left turn potentially in front of me, I do a little weave in my lane.
Anybody else do that?
That's what I was going to say.
Quite a few people.
Move within the lane.
Anything else?
So, although I'm not a big proponent of bright yellow canary helmets, I wear extremely bright red exclusively because it's the emergency vehicle effect, and that has saved me at least a dozen times.
Very good. I did hear that recently too, of instead of being the bright color, be the red color, it's the color of danger.
I have a red motorcycle and I have less incidents of people. I have a bright red motorcycle and I have less incidents. My previous motorcycle was black and it definitely helps, I've noticed, in the 2 years I've had it.
Very cool. Anybody else?
Years ago, I had extra lights to the front. I don't need light.
Yeah, you do.
Extra lights to the front and extra lights to the rear, and they include additional turn signals to give additional visibility and braking lights that come on both at the same time. So,
And even the modulating brake lights, the same with modulating headlights, that can help as well. All right, car drivers. Any of the things, especially the motion and traffic that they discussed, have you seen that? And then what is the effect that that has when you have seen that?
I guess, yes, I have seen, I know I've seen some of the modulating headlights and brake lights, and I've definitely seen the weaving, and yeah, that it definitely catches my eye.
What was your impression of the rider? Was there something wrong? Did you?
That's an interesting question, because if you'd asked me this, so I'm the goofball who's been working on motorcycle outreach for over a decade, and I still don't ride. But so I've learned a lot, though. No, if you'd asked me before I was familiar with this community about the weaving, I might have wondered if there was something else going on. So that now that you say that, that might be an interesting message for us to specifically put out to drivers, saying, hey, if you see someone who is doing this, they are probably doing it so that you can see them better.
Any other comments on this side?
Well, my husband and I always wear reflective gear that, well, we ride a slingshot now that I've had a stroke, but we wear reflective jackets and of course our helmets, but I think that they would see the brightness of our, when they see
Of your gear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, we picked a slingshot that is silver, so it's really bright and all that, so we stand out.
Yeah. My motorcycle is silver. I thought it would be a help, and then sometimes I've wondered if I've blended into the background. Especially on the roads that aren't that bright black anymore. They've kind of faded out. So, motion-induced blindness, motorcyclists have some tips on how you can be seen better. Drivers realize that's why we're acting that might seem erratic in our lane. Okay. Blind spots. So what are some things that cause our blind spots?
What caused them? Well, essentially the bicyclist in that video was the pillar. The A pillar was in the way.
Oh, I didn't give you this, Nina. It didn't come on. There you go.
Right, the video that showed the, whatever that big term was, with the eye blind spots, where the bicyclist was hidden by the A-pillar to the driver. And it holds the windshield and the side window, so it's not going anywhere. But the B-pillar also, and in the van picture, the C-pillar, all those could be partial, adding to the blind spot. And just where our eyes are associated and where they are in the mirror settings in the cars, you essentially, there is a slight blind spot no matter how you set your mirrors. So again, the glancing to the side is, before changing lanes or making turns, this is what we try to teach in the driver's ed world and so forth. But blind spots are there, and with a novice driver, part of the blind spot is their brain. As I've told this group before, we're trying to teach them to see semis. Do you understand? They miss a semi. And the reason is our brain, our eyes give it those photographs, right? Just told you that. The brain is actually telling the eyes what to look for, if you really understand it. So until we get into the brain, look for semis, look for motorcyclists, look for pedestrians, look for bicyclists. So if we only concentrate on cars, they're only going to look for cars. And of course, me as an instructor, I say mine is white. Don't hit a white vehicle. That may be me. So I have to, so it's a lot deeper understanding of how we want to get those mental pictures in the brain for our students, whether they be in an adult course or they be in a teenage course. So once they get on the roadway, they've seen it before. Because you can ask them to picture, Mickey Mouse in their brain. They've probably seen that before. They can see that. But as to see a motorcycle and have them give a description of that, they probably, unless someone in their home has one, they don't have that great a mental picture. So again, like we're seeing the slides here is what we try to put into visuals. That's why we show videos, things, because it's all visibility. 90% of driving is visibility. We've got to get those mental pictures in the brain. So from our community in the driver's ed world, teaching the little, protected vehicle, we are making an effort, and we want you to know that. And I continually work with the driving schools and so forth to get this information out to them so we can work together to get these numbers down for the motorcycle community.
Thank you, Nina. What are some other tips that we can give or learn, maybe to see better around that cage, see better around the pillars? I'm going to start with Matt, and then I'll move over here.
So one of the coolest things I've ever heard about was to teach your kids to play slug bug when they see motorcycles. And as a rider, I'll tell you, I look for cars that have kids in them, and I feel pretty safe about them because the kid is jumping up and down inside that car, pointing at me and saying, "Mom, Dad, whatever, there's a motorcycle out there." And ingraining that, I think, is really important. And angling off of your comments a little bit earlier, my accent is definitely not Texan. I have Central European roots. And so operating, I was used to look for bicyclists and pedestrians on the roads because there's so many bicyclists and pedestrians in Europe. And whenever I go back and drive or ride, I actually shock myself how little I pay attention to them because there's not that many of them here. And so it's about programming your brain through repetition, hence the little slug bug game of motorcycles. I think is brilliant.
Thank you.
As a former rider, which I'm retired from that now, I also have a spot mirror on my side view mirrors, which gives you that just little bit of edge to be able to see a little bit better what's there beside your vehicle. Of course, there's nothing better than turning your head and looking. But I find that it does help me with seeing what's on the sides of me. So I really appreciate and think they're a wonderful tool to use.
Thank you. And what are some of the limitations to that kind of mirror? They distort the distance? They distort the distance, so be careful and still, but they do alert you, hey, there's something there. Guess what? I need to turn my head and put that in my, remember? Said if we don't look, we can't see, it gets hidden in those little saccades. What else can we do about those pillars? All right, Hong, you get the award.
Yeah, I got a new car, so the front pillar is in a different place slightly where I'm used to see things better with a bigger car. So I remember one of those lessons at a different conference, they say, move your body so you can get away from the blocked view.
Very good. Anything else?
So I actually learned in a class once, when you set your side view mirrors, a lot of people don't have them set correctly. And I was actually taught, if you're in the driver's seat, you should actually lean this far forward or to the side when setting your mirrors, and they should not be set so you can see the side of your car, but as far out to be able to see, because your rear view mirrors should be behind you and your side view mirrors should be set further this way so you can actually see where you're supposed to see and not the side of your car. And like other people have said, to actually look over your shoulder, because so many people rely on the safety features of their vehicles that they only rely on those features instead of using their shoulders or their head anymore to actually turn, whether it's backing up or doing lane changes.
So our automatic driving assist systems may be making us dumber drivers. Yes. There was one other thing. There is a program that's funded through the Department of Transportation, TxDOT, called CarFit. It's usually geared more towards the aging riders, senior drivers, seasoned drivers, thank you. The seasoned drivers to help them because they don't. And when you start getting closer up to the steering wheel, and that's actually dangerous due to airbags and other things. So they actually help you, new automatic driving assist systems, helping them understand that, how to use them, how to adjust their car. So if you're interested in that, look on the TxDOT website and do car fit, and you can find out if there's one in your area, or request one for your area. All right, we've talked about minimizing blind spots. What's next? Inattentional blindness. Who's heard about the gorilla in the room? The invisible gorilla? We got a few on this side. We might dim the lights for this one. It's a little bit darker. Who's got the lights on this side? Thank you, Margaret. So again, looking for videos, I had to go overseas.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
The answer is 13.
Did y'all get it?
Yep.
But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Go!
There he is. So how many missed the moonwalking bear the first time? Quite a few of you. It goes right back to what Nina was saying of we have to get into their brain and get their brain to say, look for the motorcycle. Or the semi in her case, but to look for the motorcycle. That's that inattentional blindness. And actually thinking and asking yourself, where's the motorcycle when you're at an intersection? And now that you've seen it, it's like you slowed your scan, you looked twice, you checked your blind around your pillars. You said, where's that motorcyclist hiding? And found him. Now what do? This side of the room. You see the motorcyclist, what do? Don't know yet? Okay. So, size arrival effect. This one's a little bit harder to illustrate or explain, if you will. But basically, if there is a smaller, narrow, closer object and a wider, larger, further object, the person in the car is going to see the person looking for in traffic. They're going to think that that car, that bigger, wider object, is going to get there before the nearer, closer, narrower object. I thought I had time. Didn't have time. So, if you see them, what do? Wait. So I have, and this is my idea of size arrival effect when I'm thinking about it, but I have a friend who had a different idea of size arrival effect, so I'm going to put her on the spot.
A different idea.
Yeah.
So if you're driving your car on the freeway and you see there's or even your motorcycle, and there's a semi way ahead of you, really far. Maybe you're out in the country on the interstate, and it looks like it's just taking forever for you to catch up to that semi. And as you get closer, all of a sudden, you think, that semi-driver just slowed down. They slowed down in front of me. Because as you get closer, the angle of your eye looking at that thing gets wider really fast right toward the end. Whereas when you're really far away, the change in that angle is really small for a long time. So similar to, my analogy is up and down, and what Cathy showed is side to side, but it's the same thing. Things that when they're bigger and closer to you, it's easier to see them, and your judgment of speed changes as you get closer or farther from things.
Thank you, Miss Rita. Any other thoughts on this? You heard it before? Gonna make me run across the room.
Hi, my name's Kib Saylor, and I'm with TTI. I've only been with TTI a few years, but Laura taught me, we were doing a 50-plus outreach and education. No. What? Seasoned drivers, that's what I meant to say. There is something called static vision and dynamic vision. Okay, making sure of this. So static is this projector's right there. It's not moving. I can judge how far it is. Dynamic vision is when a motorcycle is coming towards me, going away, whatever. And as I get older, me personally, and everybody in the room, as we get older, it's harder to judge that that dynamic vision and how close they are, how fast they are going.
So age has a factor. Thank you. Thank you, Kim. So we decided we have to wait if we see them because they're probably going to get there faster than we think they are? Okay. So when I'm talking to drivers, we don't have that cage with those pillars that are now getting so fat because they're full of airbags and air curtains. We don't have that. We have the gear we choose to wear, and hopefully we're choosing to wear all the gear of good quality and well fit. See Hong's presentation this afternoon. So the drivers understanding some of these things and doing some of these techniques, slowing the scan, thinking where's the motorcycle, looking around the pillars. Once you see us, thinking where's the motorcycle, and then once you see us, let us go by. It's going to take another second or two out of your life, but you could be saving someone else's. So that's kind of where I have of why the motorcycle's invisible. Any other ideas or questions that I didn't hit? I'm going to have someone else carry the mic around.
So there is another video out there that I thought was really interesting, and it's from Europe. Europe does some great videos, right? And it is a police officer standing in the middle of the road, and he has a pen in his hand, and he's just talking, and then all of a sudden a motorcycle comes out from behind the pen, right? It's the idea that a telephone pole will be a blind spot, a stop sign can be a blind spot. That's where the moving within our lane for us is so important, because if you pull up to that turn, you're looking, that telephone pole, that stop sign, that can block your ability to see us. And I just thought it was interesting.
Very good. So what can we do to overcome that?
Besides moving side to side and having that help draw attention to you, something else that, as far as the having things moving straight at you, having them be really narrow, and angles of things. Okay, I'm an engineering geek, so pardon all the angles and so forth. But if you're in the left-hand lane, and there's a car that is waiting to turn out to go left, you're very narrow. Your profile is very narrow when you're in, I'm sorry, wait, I gotta think about this. I just,
Okay.
I totally, yeah, I'm fired.
No, you're not.
I read something about that
You're not.
most motorcyclists ride in the left-hand lane. Oh, oncoming, if you're oncoming and there's a car waiting to turn left. So if she's in the left-hand lane, I'm in my car and I'm in the left-hand portion of my lane, based on where I'm sitting, she's very narrow. Now, if she moves to the right-hand portion of the lane, which is not something a lot of motorcyclists do, now she's wider as far as her profile from where I am. Thanks for saving me, Kathy.
What are friends for?
No, that makes total sense. I get what you're saying.
So just our lane positioning can help widen our profile at the intersection. Also kind of part of how that weaving works.